Hey everybody, Karma here. Welcome back to my channel and my life stories. This video was sponsored by Pop's Trading Post. A Pop's Trading Post link has been listed below. Thank you for joining me. I have two stories for you today. The first story is about a landlord that loves sweets, and the second story is about an OP that believes in defending her home with a gun. So time to kick your feet up, prepare to listen, and now on to the first story. In a previous post, I mentioned that we had lost everything we owned, and through serendipity found a kind landlord that allowed us to move into one of the apartments that he owned. I'll refer to him as KL, for kind landlord. We were desperate to find a place to live. We explained our circumstances to KL and promised him that we would always pay him on time. The look on his face was priceless when we paid him the deposit and the first month's rent with all the bills we had and lots of rolled up change. After the move, he appeared at our door to check in on us. My wife, who loves to bake, was in the kitchen baking my favorite chocolate chip cookies. The whole house smelled divine, and I could tell that KL was inhaling the cookie aroma appreciatively. KL, I asked, would you like a cookie and some coffee? KL eagerly agreed, and some 4 hours and 2 dozen cookies later, our phone rang. My wife answered the phone. It turned out KL's wife was looking for him. Is KL there? She asked, and my wife answered that he was, and was advised that KL's wife wanted him home now. Tell KL to stop dawdling and get himself back home, she said. KL was not happy to hear that message. Another hour later, I encouraged him to go home and not get into trouble. And so began KL's daily visits for coffee and sweets, with a strict, "Don't tell my wife I'm here." I really enjoyed his visits, so KL became a daily fixture in our home. Because he loved sweets so much, we decided that in lieu of presents for Christmas, we would gift homemade goods to KL and his family. 3 days before Christmas, KL made his daily round to us. We presented him with 3 pounds of fudge, cookies, and a Christmas carrot cake. KL's eyes lit up, and then we got our daily phone call from his wife, admonishing us to make sure KL doesn't dawdle and come straight home. KL spent the next 2 hours outside the apartment preparing to leave and decided to taste the fudge. As he stood there talking, he began to help himself and continued to taste the fudge until, to his surprise, he found that the tin was now empty and all the fudge was missing. My wife shooed him home and sternly said, "Go home, KL, and don't dawdle before you get in trouble. And make sure your family can enjoy some of those cookies and cake." KL looked shamefaced for a brief second. Then he turned to my wife happily and said, "See you tomorrow?" "Tomorrow," my wife said, laughing. We sure miss him. He was one of the kindest individuals we've ever known. When we moved out a few years later, he cheerfully gave us our entire deposit back and wrote us a letter of recommendation. He really helped us get back on our feet. KL, wherever you are, thank you. What a great story! I think this story illustrates the point that it doesn't cost anything to be nice. And when you're nice to someone, sometimes that comes back around to you. It sounds like these people were having a hard time. KL did them a good deed by letting them move in and checking up on them to make sure that they were all right. They, in turn, provided friendship and lots of sweets for KL. In the end, he was able to help them get back on their feet. Let me know in the comments section if anyone has ever done a good deed for you that you were able to pay forward. If you have no comments but like the story, please leave me 3 heart emojis so that I know to continue these types of stories for you. And now, on to the second story. In 1992, my husband and I purchased our first home. It was an estate sale. The property had been owned by a mom and dad that had raised their 8 children in a pieced-together 2-bedroom house that came with almost 3 acres of land and an awesome couple of neighbors. On our first night at the new house, my husband decided to pick something up for us to eat. We had been moving all day, and boy, we were tired. This seemed like the fastest, most efficient way we had to get ourselves fed. The house we purchased was way out in the country. We had neighbors, but none that were very, very close. I told my husband I would take a shower while he was gone. He kissed me and set off to find nourishment. About 10 minutes later, while I was showering, I heard what sounded like someone in the house rummaging through our belongings. I could hear muffled voices, so I figured it's more than one person. I couldn't make out what they were saying. I was terrified. I wrapped myself up in a towel, not even bothering to remove my shower cap. My husband always keeps a gun in our home for protection. During the move, he had packed it in a box that thankfully was not far from the bathroom. I quietly found the gun and loaded it. I figured my best defense would be the element of surprise. So after my best Dirty Harry pose, I jumped out, almost losing my towel in the process, and screamed, "Get the hell out of my house!" To my utter horror, I saw 3 little kids rifling through our stuff. We all looked like deer caught in the headlights before we all started screaming. "Ah! Ah! She's the mama!" I could hear them scream as they turned tail and ran out the front door. At that moment, my towel gave up the ghost. A quick look in the mirror in the living room showed a wet, naked lady in a shower cap holding a gun. I grabbed my towel and made my way to lock the front door. Then I sat on the sofa, still holding the gun in my hands until my husband got home, where I told him about the whole fiasco. Because those kids ran out of my house screaming, "She's the mama, she's the mama," I figured all the neighbors would think I was some kind of a pervert. I tried to explain what happened to all the neighbors, and they informed me that those kids were known as the Hellions in the entire neighborhood. Their grandmother had owned the house, so they were used to coming into the house whenever they pleased. Apparently, the grandmother, aka the mama, was a crusty old thing who also kept a gun for protection and wasn't afraid to use it. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I had put the fear of God into those little hellions, so a repeat performance would likely never happen again. But I was never able to live down my reputation after that. Until the day we moved from that state, everyone in the neighborhood referred to me as Yosemite Mama. Oh my gosh. On the one hand, as I was reading the story, I could see where a person alone in their home would be terrified of a home invasion. But on the other hand, I couldn't stop laughing about her losing her towel. If anyone else has gone through this type of a situation, please let me know in the comments section or leave 3 heart emojis so that I know you like this kind of story. I'd like to thank the 2 authors that sent me their stories. If you would like your story read on my channel, please submit them to karma@karmagetin.com or post to u/Karmagetin on Reddit. All stories will be read anonymously with either initials or descriptions only. Thank you again, Pop's Trading Post, for sponsoring this video. If you would like to place an order through Pop's Trading Post, please use discount code Karmagetin, all caps, for a 20% discount at checkout. That's it for today, and remember, do something nice today and help me change the world.
It's not their turn, it's my turn to shine. Like the rays of the sunlight reaching out my arms.
If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Feel free to share with anyone and subscribe to not miss any new videos that come out. Thank you so much for all your support. Catch you in the next one. Laters!